Too pathetic to ever leave the nest anyway. The words hit me like a slap through the kitchen wall. I froze, coffee mug halfway to my lips, listening to my sister Noelle's voice carry from the living room where she was video chatting with our parents. I mean, come on, Mom. Blair's 29 and still living at home. When's the last time she even went on a date? She's never going to use that down payment money. It's just sitting there gathering dust while I'm actually ready to start my life. My name is Blair, and I've spent the last decade being invisible in my own family. The responsible one, the reliable one, the one who never caused drama or asked for anything. Apparently, that made me pathetic. She has a point, Chloe. I heard Dad's voice through the phone speaker. Noelle's got her career taking off. She's with Dwayne now. Maybe it's time we helped the daughter who's actually going somewhere. The home fund. $28,000 my parents had been saving since I was 16, supposedly for my first house down payment. I'd watched that account grow for 13 years, believing it represented their faith in my future. Turns out it was just money waiting for someone more deserving to claim it. Blair won't even know what hit her, Noelle laughed. She's probably forgotten the money exists. She's too busy with her little spreadsheets and her boring job to think about actually moving out. My boring job. If only they knew. I set my mug down carefully, hands steady, despite the rage building in my chest. Through the doorway, I could see Noelle sprawled across our parents' old leather couch, perfectly manicured nails gesturing as she spoke. Even at 27, she had this way of making every room revolve around her. I've already found the perfect place, she continued, this gorgeous apartment in the Meridian building downtown. The landlord's some faceless LLC, but the unit is stunning. Floor to ceiling windows, exposed brick, the works. With the down payment money, I could actually afford the deposit and first few months while my influencer income stabilizes. Influencer income. Right. Noelle's Instagram account, where she posed with products she couldn't afford, pretending to live a lifestyle funded entirely by our parents' credit cards. You know what, sweetheart? Mom's voice was warm in a way it never was when she talked to me. Your father and I have been talking, and we think you're absolutely right. Blair's always been our little homebody. She's comfortable here, and honestly, we love having her. But you're ready to soar. I pressed myself against the wall, invisible as always, listening to my family carve up my future like a Thanksgiving turkey. Should we tell Blair? Dad asked. Why upset her? Noelle's voice was sugar sweet. She's never even mentioned the fund. For all we know, she's forgotten about it completely. Besides, it's not like she's going anywhere. This is Blair we're talking about. They all laughed. Actually laughed. I slipped upstairs to my room, the same room I'd occupied since high school, and closed the door. My laptop sat open on my desk, displaying the same spreadsheets Noelle had mocked. Boring spreadsheets tracking property values, rental yields, market trends, boring spreadsheets that had made me very, very wealthy. I opened my banking app and stared at the number that never failed to make my heart race. 7 figures. More money than my parents had ever dreamed of, earned through careful investments, late night research, and a talent for seeing potential where others saw problems. My phone buzzed with a text from Jack, my business attorney, and the only person who knew the truth about my double life. Meridian Building just hit the market. Thought you might be interested. Owners looking for a quick, quiet sale. The Meridian Building, where my dear sister wanted to start her new life with my stolen down payment. I smiled for the first time all day and typed back, "Send me everything. Let's see who's really pathetic." 3 days later, I stood in Noelle's new apartment, watching her flutter around like a butterfly showing off its wings. The Meridian building was everything she'd described: sleek, modern, the kind of place that screamed, "I've made it," to anyone scrolling through Instagram. "Isn't it just perfect?" Noelle gushed to a cluster of her friends, all holding champagne flutes and nodding appreciatively. The moment I saw it, I knew it was meant to be mine. Mom and Dad beamed from the kitchen island, soaking up compliments about their successful daughter. I nursed a glass of wine in the corner, playing my role as the quiet sister who tagged along to family events. "Blair, honey, come see the view," Mom called, her voice carrying that forced enthusiasm she used when she remembered I existed. I joined them at the floor to ceiling windows overlooking the city. The apartment really was stunning. Hardwood floors, exposed brick, an open concept that made the space feel twice its actual size. My sister had good taste, I'd give her that. "Must be expensive," I said casually. Oh, we helped with the down payment, Dad said, puffing up with pride. Sometimes you have to invest in your children's futures, you know. That's so generous of you both, said a woman I didn't recognize, extending her hand. I'm Eliza, from 4B. I live just down the hall. Eliza looked to be in her mid-30s, with kind eyes and the slightly frazzled appearance of someone juggling too many responsibilities. She had paint under her fingernails and wore a cardigan that had seen better days. Blair, I replied, shaking her hand. Noelle's sister. Oh, how wonderful. It's so nice when family supports each other. Eliza glanced around the apartment. I have to say, your sister picked a great building, though I hope the new management company will be more responsive than the last one. New management company? I asked, keeping my voice neutral. Haven't you heard? Eliza lowered her voice. The building just sold. Some investment firm bought it last week. We're all a bit nervous about what changes might be coming. What kind of changes? You know how it is with these corporate landlords rent increases, stricter policies, fancy renovations that jack up costs. She sighed. I've been here 3 years, and it's been perfect. Affordable, quiet, great neighbors. I just hope whoever bought it doesn't try to push out the long term tenants. Across the room, Noelle was posing for photos with Dwayne, her boyfriend of 6 months. He had his arm around her waist, both of them grinning at the camera like they'd conquered the world. This place is going to look amazing on your feed, Dwayne was saying. Very aspirational. Your followers are going to eat this up. I know, right? And the best part is, it's all mine. Well, mostly mine. Noelle giggled. My parents helped with the deposit, but I'm covering rent myself, finally proving I can be independent. Independent, with mom and dad's money and Dwayne probably covering half her expenses. Excuse me, I said to Eliza. I need some air. I stepped onto the balcony, pulling out my phone. Jack had sent me the building's financial records earlier that morning. 24 units, mostly young professionals, average rent well below market rate. The previous owner had been hands off, more interested in steady income than maximum profit. My phone buzzed with a text from Jack. Paperwork's ready. You sure about this? I looked back through the glass doors at my family. Mom was taking selfies with Noelle. Dad was explaining to someone how proud he was of his daughter's entrepreneurial spirit. Nobody had noticed I'd stepped outside. Blair! Eliza appeared beside me on the balcony. Sorry, I followed you out. You looked like you needed some fresh air, too. Just taking a break from the crowd. I get it. These parties can be overwhelming. She leaned against the railing. Your sister seems lovely, but I have to ask. Do you know anything about the new building owner? I've been trying to find information online, but it's all hidden behind LLC names and corporate filings. Why are you so worried? I'm a single mom, Eliza said quietly. My daughter starts kindergarten at the school 2 blocks away in the fall. This apartment, this neighborhood, it's perfect for us. But if they double the rent or decide they want to renovate, she trailed off. Inside, Noelle was holding court, telling everyone about her amazing new chapter and how the apartment was exactly what she deserved. I'm sure it'll be fine, I told Eliza, the lie sitting heavy on my tongue. My phone buzzed again. Jack, building inspection scheduled for Monday. Once that's done, you'll officially own it. I typed back, perfect, let's move forward. The closing took place in Jack's downtown office on a Tuesday morning. I sat across from the seller's representative, a tired looking man in his 60s who seemed eager to get the paperwork signed and move on with his life. The building's been in my client's family for 30 years, he explained, sliding documents across the mahogany table. He's retiring to Florida, wants a clean break from property management. Jack reviewed each page with his usual thoroughness. Everything looks in order. The LLC structure will maintain your anonymity, Blair. As far as anyone knows, Meridian Properties Group is just another faceless investment company. I picked up the pen, my hand trembling slightly. Once I signed these papers, there would be no going back. The building where my sister lived, where she was building her independent new life with my stolen down payment money, would belong to me. Any second thoughts? Jack asked quietly. None. I signed my name with a flourish. That evening, I sat at the family dinner table, cutting into Mom's pot roast while she gushed about Noelle's latest Instagram post. 43,000 likes already, Mom said, scrolling through her phone. Look at this one. She's doing yoga on her balcony at sunrise. So inspiring. The engagement on her content has really picked up since she moved, Dad added. Living in that building gives her credibility, makes her look successful. Speaking of the building, I said casually, how's Noelle settling in? Any issues with management or anything? Why would there be issues? Mom looked puzzled. I just heard the building changed hands recently. Sometimes new owners like to shake things up. Dad waved dismissively. I'm sure it's fine. These big investment companies know what they're doing. They want reliable tenants who pay on time. Noelle's exactly the kind of resident they'd want to keep. If only he knew. My phone buzzed with a text from Noelle. OMG, the weirdest thing happened today. These maintenance guys showed up and started measuring everything. My neighbor Eliza is freaking out, thinks we're getting new management. So dramatic, lol. I typed back, that does sound weird. Did they say what they were measuring for? Something about property assessment. Probably just routine stuff. Anyway, Dwayne thinks it might mean they're upgrading the building. Maybe we'll get new appliances or something. The next morning, Jack called while I was getting ready for my day job at the accounting firm. The property management company wants to schedule a meeting, he said. They need to discuss transition plans, new lease terms, that sort of thing. How soon? This afternoon, if you're available. They're eager to get everything sorted before the first of the month. I met with the management team at their offices across town. 3 people sat around a conference table with thick folders and laptops open, ready to discuss my new investment. The building's in excellent condition, the lead manager, Sarah, explained. Occupancy rate is 96%, which is outstanding for this market. Most tenants have been there for years. What about rent rates? I asked. Significantly below market, another manager chimed in. The previous owner preferred stability over profit maximization. Current average rent is about 60% of what comparable units go for in the area. I see. I kept my expression neutral. And what would you recommend? Gradual increases, Sarah said. Maybe 15 to 20% annually over the next 3 years to bring everything up to market rate. We'd also suggest updating the lease terms, stricter pet policies, subletting restrictions, that sort of thing. What about current tenants who can't afford the increases? The managers exchanged glances. That's always a challenge, Sarah admitted. But turnover creates opportunities for higher paying tenants. It's just business. Just business. Like stealing your daughter's future was just family. I want new lease terms drafted for all units, I said. 25% rent increase effective next month. No pets, no subletting, no exceptions. Anyone who can't agree to the new terms has 30 days to vacate. That's aggressive, Sarah said carefully. You might lose a significant number of tenants. Then we'll find new ones who can pay market rate. What about the liability? Some of these tenants have been there for years. They might fight the increases. Let them fight. Draw up the paperwork. That evening, my phone exploded with messages. First from Eliza. Blair, I don't know if you've heard, but something terrible is happening at Noelle's building. We all got notices today about massive rent increases and new rules. I'm panicking. Then from Noelle. This is insane. My rent is going up $800 a month, and they're saying no pets allowed. Dwayne was going to move in with his dog. Who does this? Finally, from Mom. Blair, honey, do you know anything about property law? Some horrible company is trying to force Noelle out of her apartment. We need to find out who owns this building and make them see reason. I stared at the messages, a smile spreading across my face. Already on it, Mom, I texted back. I'll see what I can dig up about the new owners. The notices went out on a Friday. By Saturday morning, my phone was buzzing nonstop. Blair, thank God you answered. Eliza's voice was shaky. I know we barely know each other, but I'm desperate. Did Noelle mention anything about these lease changes? She's pretty upset about it, I said, pacing my bedroom. What exactly did your notice say? Rent increase from $200 to $500 starting next month. No pets, no overnight guests more than 3 nights per week, no subletting. And get this, they want a new security deposit equal to 3 months' rent. That's harsh. Harsh? It's impossible. I'm a teacher, Blair. I can't afford an extra $300 a month, let alone come up with $4,500 for a new deposit. And my daughter's goldfish apparently counts as a pet that has to go. I heard a child's voice in the background asking about the fish. I'm sorry, Eliza. I wish I could help. Actually, maybe you can. You work in finance, right? Do you know anything about property law? Some of the other tenants are talking about organizing, maybe finding a lawyer. I could look into it. I said carefully. What's the name of the company that sent the notices? Meridian Properties Group. Ever heard of them? No, but I'll see what I can find. After hanging up, I pulled up Noelle's Instagram. She'd posted a video rant about greedy corporate landlords that already had hundreds of comments. Her followers were eating it up, sharing stories about their own housing struggles and calling for boycotts of anonymous investment companies. This is exactly what's wrong with our system, she said into the camera, tears streaming down her face. These faceless corporations buy up buildings and destroy communities just to make a profit. They don't care about families, about people's lives, they just see dollar signs. The irony was delicious. My phone rang. Mom. Blair, sweetie, I need you to do some research for us. Noelle's landlord is trying to force her out, and we need to know who we're dealing with. I saw her Instagram post. She seemed really upset. She's devastated. This apartment was supposed to be her fresh start, and now some greedy company is trying to price her out. Your father and I are furious. What do you want me to find out? Everything. Who owns this Meridian Properties Group? What other buildings they own if there have been complaints filed against them? We need ammunition. I'll see what I can do. You're such a good sister, Blair. I know Noelle doesn't always show it, but she really appreciates having you in her corner. Sunday afternoon, I met Eliza at a coffee shop near the building. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. I've been up all night researching tenant rights, she said, sliding into the booth across from me. The good news is they can't just kick us out. The bad news is they can make life so miserable we'll want to leave. What did you find out about the company? That's the weird part. Meridian Properties Group was just registered 3 weeks ago. Before that, the building was owned by some guy named Harold who lived in Phoenix. He sold it to this LLC, but I can't find any information about who's actually behind it. Shell companies are pretty common in real estate, I said. Helps with liability and taxes. Right, but this feels different. The timing is too convenient. Harold puts the building up for sale, and within days, someone swoops in and buys it, then immediately starts pushing out long term tenants. She pulled out her phone and showed me a group text with other tenants. Look at this. Mrs. Patterson in 2A has been there 8 years. She's on a fixed income, can't afford the increase. The couple in 3C just had a baby. They're already stretched thin. And there's this guy, Marcus, who's been there since the building opened. He's talking about just walking away, letting them keep his deposit. I scrolled through the messages. Real people with real problems, all because of my decision. We're meeting tomorrow night in the community room, Eliza continued, trying to figure out our options. Would you come? I know you're not a tenant, but you understand this stuff better than most of us. I don't know if that's appropriate. Please, we need someone who knows how these companies operate, someone who can help us fight back. My phone buzzed with a text from Noelle. Mom told me you're helping research the evil landlord company. You're the best. Maybe we can find some dirt on them and expose what they're doing. I looked at Eliza's hopeful face, then at my sister's message. Okay, I said. I'll be there. Thank you so much. You have no idea what this means to us. But I did know. I knew exactly what it meant. And that was the problem. The tenant meeting was held in the building's community room on Monday night. I arrived early, watching through the windows as people trickled in. Eliza had set up folding chairs in a circle with a whiteboard covered in notes about tenant rights and legal options. Blair, you came. Eliza rushed over as I entered. I wasn't sure you'd show up. I said I would. She introduced me to the other tenants. Mrs. Patterson, a retired librarian who'd been clutching the same tissue for the entire conversation. Marcus, a graphic designer who kept checking his phone like he had somewhere better to be. The young couple from 3C, Sarah and Tom, who took turns bouncing their fussy baby. So, what do we know about this Meridian Properties Group? Marcus asked once everyone had gathered. Almost nothing, Eliza said, consulting her notes. They're registered in Delaware, which makes it nearly impossible to trace the actual owners. The only contact information is a P.O. box and an answering service. Classic slumlord setup, Tom muttered. Hide behind shell companies so they can screw over tenants without consequences. Has anyone tried calling the number on the notices? Sarah asked. I did, Mrs. Patterson said quietly. Got transferred 3 times and finally reached someone who said all lease negotiations had to be done in writing. No exceptions. What about the property management company? I asked. They have to have some contact with the actual owners. They claim they're just following orders, Marcus said. I went to their office this morning. They acted like they'd never heard of Meridian Properties Group. Eliza turned to the whiteboard. Here's what we're dealing with: 24 units, average rent increase of $400 per month. New pet restrictions affect 8 families. The guest policy impacts basically everyone. Don't forget the new security deposit, Sarah added. 3 months rent upfront. That's $4,500 for us. It's designed to force people out, Tom said, bouncing the baby more aggressively. They want to clear the building and bring in tenants who'll pay premium rates. So, what are our options? Mrs. Patterson asked. We could organize a rent strike, Marcus suggested. Refuse to pay the increases until they negotiate. That's risky, I said. They could start eviction proceedings. Blair's right, Eliza agreed. We need to be smart about this. What about going to the media? Noelle's Instagram post got a lot of attention. Maybe we could get a reporter interested. Local news loves these David versus Goliath stories, Sarah said, especially when it involves families with kids. My phone buzzed with a text from Noelle. How's the tenant meeting going? Getting any dirt on the scumbag landlord? I typed back, still gathering information. The thing that bothers me most, Eliza continued, is how calculated this feels, like someone specifically targeted this building, this community. We're not some rundown property in a bad neighborhood. We're good tenants who pay on time and take care of our homes. Maybe that's exactly why they targeted us, Marcus said. Stable building, good location, rents way below market rate. It's a gold mine for the right investor. An investor with no conscience, Mrs. Patterson added. The baby started crying, and Sarah stood to walk him around the room. I keep thinking about timing, she said over the noise. Harold owned this place for 30 years, never raised rent more than $50 at a time. Then suddenly he sells to some mystery company that immediately jacks up prices. Something doesn't add up. What are you suggesting? Tom asked. I don't know. Maybe someone approached Harold specifically. Maybe they knew exactly what they were buying and had a plan from day one. Eliza looked at me. Blair, you understand how these real estate deals work. Does that sound plausible? It's possible, I said carefully. Investment companies do target undervalued properties. They research buildings, look for owners who might be ready to sell. So this could have been planned for months, Marcus said. Some corporate vulture circling our building, waiting for the right moment to swoop in. We need to find out who's really behind Meridian Properties Group, Eliza said. There has to be a paper trail somewhere. My phone rang. Mom. Sorry, I need to take this, I said, stepping into the hallway. Blair, honey, how's the meeting going? Are you getting any useful information? They're trying to organize a response, nothing concrete yet. Well, I have news. Your father called in a favor with his lawyer friend. Apparently, there are ways to force these shell companies to reveal their ownership if you can prove they're acting in bad faith. That's interesting. The lawyer thinks we might have a case. All these sudden changes, the impossible deposit requirements, it looks like harassment designed to clear out existing tenants. Through the community room window, I could see the other tenants still talking, Eliza gesturing at the whiteboard while Mrs. Patterson dabbed at her eyes. Blair, are you still there? Yeah, Mom, I'm here. I want you to dig deeper into this company. Find out everything you can. We're going to fight this, and we're going to win. I hung up and stared at my reflection in the hallway mirror. My family wanted me to destroy the very company I owned, to help them fight against my own revenge plan. The irony was perfect and terrifying. Noelle's second housewarming party was supposed to be a solidarity gathering for the building's tenants. She'd posted about it on Instagram, calling it a community resistance event against corporate greed. The irony made my stomach turn. I arrived to find the apartment packed with people I recognized from the tenant meeting, plus Noelle's usual crowd of influencer friends. Someone had made a banner that read, Homes Not Profits, and hung it across the living room window. Blair! Noelle rushed over, phone in hand. I'm so glad you're here. I'm live streaming the whole thing. My followers are obsessed with this story. How many people are watching? Over 3,000 right now. The comments are going crazy. Everyone's sharing their own landlord horror stories. Across the room, Eliza was talking to a woman with a notepad, a reporter, based on her questions about rent increases and tenant rights. This is exactly the kind of story that needs to be told, the reporter was saying. Corporate landlords hiding behind shell companies, pushing out working families for profit. It's gotten worse since the notices went out, Eliza replied. Yesterday, they posted new rules about noise complaints. 3 strikes and you're out, no appeals process. I hadn't authorized any new rules. Excuse me, I said, approaching them. What new rules? Oh, Blair, this is Jennifer from Channel 7 News. Eliza turned to the reporter. Blair's been helping us research the company that bought our building. Have you found anything useful? Jennifer asked, pen poised. Still digging, I said. These shell companies are designed to hide ownership. That's exactly the problem, Jennifer said. Accountability disappears when everything's buried in corporate structures. What's the company called again? Meridian Properties Group, Eliza said. I watched Jennifer write it down, knowing she'd spend hours trying to trace ownership back to me. Blair, come here, Mom called from the kitchen. She was standing with Dad and Dwayne, all three holding wine glasses and looking serious. We were just discussing strategy, Dad said. Dwayne thinks we should go after this company's other properties. If they're doing this here, they're probably doing it elsewhere. That's smart, I said. Cast a wider net. I've been researching similar cases, Dwayne added. There's a pattern with these investment groups. They buy buildings in gentrifying neighborhoods, force out long term tenants, then flip the units for double the rent. Exactly, Mom said. It's predatory behavior, and someone needs to stop them. The thing is, Dad continued, lowering his voice, we might need to hire a private investigator, someone who can dig deeper than what's publicly available. How much would that cost? I asked. A few thousand, maybe more. But it's worth it to protect Noel. Protect Noel. With more of their money, while I stood there, knowing exactly who owned the building. I'll contribute, I said. Whatever you need. Oh, honey, that's so sweet of you, Mom said, patting my arm. But you don't need to worry about it. Your father and I can handle the expenses. I want to help. You're already helping by doing research. That's your strength, the numbers and paperwork. Leave the financial stuff to us. Across the room, Noelle was interviewing Mrs. Patterson on her phone, asking about the impact on fixed income seniors. The old woman looked uncomfortable but was trying to be helpful. This is such good content, Noelle said to her friend Maya. My engagement has tripled since I started posting about this. Brands love when influencers take on social causes. You're literally getting famous off your housing crisis. Maya laughed. That's so on brand for you. I know, right? And the best part is, I actually care about this stuff. It's not just performative. I walked onto the balcony, needing air. The city stretched out below, thousands of lights and windows where people were living their lives, paying rent, trying to get by. My phone buzzed with a text from Jack. Saw the news story online. You sure you want to keep pushing this? The media attention could complicate things. Before I could respond, Eliza joined me outside. Overwhelming in there, she said. A little. I wanted to thank you again for helping us. I know you're not even a tenant, but you've been incredible. I'm just doing research. It's more than that. You care about what happens to us. That means everything. She looked back through the glass doors at the party. Sometimes I wonder what kind of person buys a building full of families and immediately tries to kick them out. Like, do they think about the real impact? The kids who have to change schools? The elderly people who can't afford to move? Maybe they don't think about it at all, I said. That's what scares me most. The idea that we're just numbers on a spreadsheet to them. Inside, Noelle was wrapping up her live stream. We're going to fight this, she told her audience. Corporate greed won't win. Not in our building, not in our community. The comments were flooding in with heart emojis and fire symbols. Her follower count had jumped by 2,000 since the stream started. Blair, she called, spotting me through the window, come say something to my followers about the research you're doing. I shook my head and held up my wine glass, mouthing, too shy. She laughed and turned back to her phone. My sister's the brains behind our investigation, but she's camera shy. Don't worry, we'll get justice for everyone. Justice. If only she knew. The emergency tenant meeting was scheduled for Thursday at 7 p.m. I'd called it myself through the property management company, requesting all tenants attend for important updates regarding building ownership and lease terms. I arrived early, setting up a small table at the front of the community room. Jack sat beside me with a briefcase full of documents. My hands were shaking as I arranged papers, but my voice would be steady. I'd practiced this moment for weeks. You sure about this? Jack whispered. It's time. Tenants began filtering in. Eliza waved at me from across the room, looking confused about why I was sitting at the front table. Mrs. Patterson shuffled in with her walker, followed by Marcus, Sarah, and Tom with their baby. and a dozen others I'd seen around the building. Then my family arrived. Mom, Dad, and Noelle entered together, Noelle already filming on her phone. This is it, guys, she said to her camera. We're finally going to meet the mysterious new owner. Time to get some answers. They took seats in the front row, directly across from me. Mom smiled and gave me a little wave, probably wondering why I was sitting with the lawyer. Good evening, everyone, I said, standing up. Thank you all for coming. The room quieted. Eliza looked puzzled. Blair, what are you doing up there? I called this meeting because there's been some confusion about the building's ownership, and I thought it was time to clear things up. Are you representing the tenants? Marcus asked. Not exactly. I picked up the deed from the table. My name is Blair Mackenzie, and I'm the owner of this building. Meridian Properties Group is my company. The silence lasted exactly 3 seconds. Then chaos. What? Eliza shot to her feet. That's impossible. You've been helping us fight. You're the landlord? Mrs. Patterson's voice was barely a whisper. Blair, what the hell are you talking about? Noelle's phone was still recording, capturing her genuine shock. Mom and Dad looked like they'd been slapped. Honey, this isn't funny, Mom said. Stop joking around. I pulled out the signed deed and held it up. I purchased this building 3 weeks ago for $2.8 million. Cash. You don't have that kind of money, Dad said, his voice getting louder. Blair, what kind of game are you playing? No game, Dad. I've been investing in real estate for 8 years. I own 6 properties across the city, worth about $12 million total. The room erupted again. Tenants were shouting questions. My family was staring at me like I'd grown a second head, and Noelle was still filming everything. This is insane, Noelle said to her camera. My sister just claimed she's our evil landlord. This has to be some kind of breakdown. Show them the bank statements, I said to Jack. He opened his briefcase and pulled out financial documents. Blair's net worth is approximately 11.8 million. She's been operating under several LLC structures for tax purposes. But how? Mom's voice cracked. You work at an accounting firm. You live in our house. You drive a 10-year-old Honda. I live simply because I'm building wealth, Mom. Every dollar I didn't spend on clothes or cars or fancy apartments went into investments. Well, we gave away your down payment money, Dad said slowly, the realization hitting him. The money you gave to Noelle, yes. $28,000 that was supposed to be for my future. Eliza was backing toward the door. You lied to us. You sat in our meetings, pretended to help us while you were the one trying to destroy our lives. I never lied about wanting to help you. Bullshit! Marcus stood up. You raised our rent by 25%. You're trying to kick out families. I'm bringing rents up to market rate. Market rate? Sarah was crying now, the baby fussing in her arms. We can't afford market rate. That's why we lived here in the first place. Noelle lowered her phone, her face pale. Blair, tell me this is some kind of sick joke. I reached into my folder and pulled out a personalized eviction notice. Noelle Mackenzie, Unit 5A, you have 30 days to vacate the premises or agree to the new lease terms. Rent will increase from $800 to $2,400 per month, effective immediately. You can't be serious. Noelle's voice was barely audible. I'm dead serious. You wanted to prove you could be independent? Here's your chance. Blair! Mom was on her feet now. What has gotten into you? This isn't like you at all. Isn't it? The quiet daughter who never asks for anything? The pathetic sister who's too boring to ever leave home? We never said? You said exactly that, Mom. All of you. I heard you laughing about how pathetic I was, how I'd never use the down payment money anyway. Dad's face went white. You heard that conversation? Every word about how I was too pathetic to ever leave the nest, how Noelle deserved the money because she was actually going somewhere with her life. The room was dead silent now, except for the babies crying. So, congratulations, I continued. You were right about one thing. I never left the nest, but I didn't burn it down from the inside either. I bought the whole damn tree. Eliza was at the door now, tears streaming down her face. You're a monster. No, I said, watching my family's faces crumble. I'm just not pathetic anymore. The aftermath hit like a tsunami. Noelle's live stream had captured everything. Within hours, the video was everywhere. TikTok, Twitter, Reddit. Sister reveals she's evil landlord became the internet's obsession du jour. The comments ranged from iconic revenge queen to absolute psychopath. My phone hadn't stopped ringing. Reporters, lawyers, angry tenants, curious investors. I'd turned it off after the 15th call from Channel 7 News. The knock on my bedroom door came at midnight. Blair? Dad's voice was hoarse. Can we talk? I opened the door to find both parents standing in the hallway, looking like they'd aged 10 years in one evening. We need to understand, Mom said. Help us understand how we got here. You want to understand? Let's start with this. I pulled out my laptop and showed them Noelle's Instagram from 6 months ago. A post about family loyalty with a photo of her hugging them at dinner. Read the caption. Dad squinted at the screen. So grateful for parents who believe in their children's dreams. Some people are just born to soar while others are meant to stay grounded. She tagged me in it, I said. 40,000 people saw that post calling me a failure. Blair, we had no idea. There's more. I scrolled through months of posts, Noel at family dinners, captioned quality time with the people who matter, Noel getting the apartment keys, finally spreading my wings and leaving the nest. Some of us are ready for independence. Each post had thousands of likes, hundreds of comments about her amazing family, and how inspiring it was to see someone break free from mediocrity. She built her entire brand on being better than me, I said, and you helped her do it. Mom sat heavily on my bed. We thought we were supporting her confidence. By tearing down mine? We never meant. You meant exactly what you said. I was pathetic. Too boring to ever leave home. Not worth investing in. Dad was staring at the laptop screen. $12 million. How did we miss this? Because you never looked. In 8 years, neither of you ever asked about my investments, my goals, my plans. You assumed I had none. But why the building? Mom asked. Why hurt innocent people to get back at us? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed with a text from Eliza. My daughter asked why we have to move. I didn't know what to tell her. The words hit harder than I expected. I need to make some calls, I said. Jack answered on the first ring. Blair, thank God, the media requests are insane. We need to discuss damage control. I want to reverse the rent increases. What? All of them. Set everyone back to their original rates. Blair, that's $250,000 in lost revenue annually. I don't care, and I want to set up a fund for tenants who need help with moving expenses if they choose to leave. Are you sure about this? Do it. The next call was harder. Eliza? It's Blair. I have nothing to say to you. Please just listen. I'm reversing all the rent increases. Everyone goes back to their original rates. Silence. I'm also setting up a fund to help anyone who wants to move. Full deposits returned, plus moving expenses covered. Why? Because you were right. I became a monster. That doesn't fix what you did. No, it doesn't. But it's a start. The hardest conversation came the next morning. Noelle sat across from me at the kitchen table, her eyes red from crying. I keep watching the video, she said, trying to figure out when you started hating me. I don't hate you. You tried to make me homeless, Blair. I tried to make you feel what I felt, powerless, forgotten, like your dreams didn't matter. So you bought my building. So I bought your building. She laughed, but it sounded broken. It's actually kind of brilliant. Completely psychotic, but brilliant. Your rent goes back to the original rate, too. I can't stay there now. Everyone knows what happened. My followers are split between thinking I'm a victim and thinking I deserved it. Where will you go? Dwayne's place, probably, assuming he still wants to date the sister of the internet's most hated landlord. Mom appeared in the doorway. I found something in the attic. She held up a small potted plant, brown and withered. You gave this to me for Mother's Day when you were 12. I kept it all these years, but I guess I forgot to water it. The symbolism was heavy handed, but it landed anyway. I'm sorry, Blair, Mom said. We failed you as parents. We got so caught up in Noelle's light that we forgot you needed sunlight too. I don't need your apologies. Yes, you do. And we need to give them. Dad joined us, looking exhausted. We're proud of you. What you built, what you accomplished. We should have said that years ago. You're proud that I'm rich? We're proud that you're strong. Stronger than we ever gave you credit for. I looked around the kitchen table at my broken family. I'm moving out. Blair, I'm buying a house, a big one, with room for guests. You're all welcome to visit, but I'm done living in the shadows. Noelle wiped her eyes. Will you forgive us eventually? Ask me in a year. What about your building? Your tenants? I'm keeping it, but I'm going to be the kind of landlord I wish I'd had. Fair rent, responsive maintenance, respect for the people who live there. Even after everything. I thought about Eliza's daughter asking why they had to move, about Mrs. Patterson clutching her tissue, about the baby crying while his parents worried about rent they couldn't afford. Especially after everything. My phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Saw the news. Interested in selling? We'll pay double what you paid. I deleted it without responding. They called me pathetic for never leaving the nest. Turns out I was never the one afraid to fly. I just needed to burn the right bridges to clear my runway. But some things, once burned, can grow back stronger, and some nests are worth rebuilding from the ground up.